Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new video from your favorite trader, Matt Corvo, world trading champion from the Robbins Cup, multi-millionaire, proud owner of a massive monumental Gothic castle in Slovenia, and proud owner of a fleet of Lamborghinis and Ferraris. For those who don't know me and are new to my channel, my name is Matthias. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Montreal, Canada. I have been trading for 5 years, and about 6 months ago, I started to trade futures and order flow and volume analysis. And I'm basically documenting this learning journey. Every day I journal my trades, I journal the session, how it went, and I like to do it recording my screen and talking over it. So I just figured I might post those videos on YouTube and start my channel, which one fucking day will have 1,000,000 subs, I guarantee. Yeah, basically the way I trade is super simple. I trade with the volume profile levels. So when price reaches one of my levels, I then go on the footprints to look for absorption to see if we're going to have a reversal or a continuation. And then I also look at a heat map for potential targets because those liquidity levels, they act as magnets for price. So yeah, that's basically the three things I look the most at. I look a little bit at VWAP deviations, but not that much because I do not find them to be that reliable. Alrighty, we are Tuesday, November 11th. And I had a pretty bad day on the markets, not going to lie. Andrew Tate says something very interesting. He says a man needs struggle. And sometimes I go, fuck man, I've had enough struggle. It's time to make money. Time to have some wins. Time to succeed, you know? I've lost enough. I've failed enough. It's time for winning. And every fucking day, fuck, it's somehow a failure or I get punched in the teeth. I get humbled by the markets. Even when I think it cannot get more complicated, or when I think I've seen everything, every fucking day, it's somehow a struggle. But then he goes on to saying something very, very interesting. He says, if you take myself, if I had been born in the 1800s, somewhere in America, you know, like me, white, Anglo-Saxon, etc., if I had wanted to be financially free, if I wanted wealth and riches for my life, I would have needed to take a fucking train from the eastern United States all the way to California and cross the entire Midwest on a fucking train for 6 weeks, risk fucking malaria, maybe getting attacked by some savages, bloodthirsty Indians who just wanted to scalp me. Those were probably my ancestors, and here I am 200 years later, and what do I need to do to become rich? Sit on my fucking secret lab chair, dressed in pajama all day long, just stare at a screen and study and just be patient for my setup. It's complicated, but it's not hard. So yeah, you always gotta put things into perspective. I'm living in a very comfortable home with heating. I didn't sleep well last night, but that doesn't matter. That's like the struggle of my life. Oh, I slept like shit. I'm tired. You know, my struggles are like waging war against my comfort and my laziness and my softness. Am I gonna sleep in this morning and sleep for a couple more hours because I'm fucking tired? Or, you know what, I just slept 5 hours, I'm gonna wake up, start my day, and just go through the entire day being fucking tired. I get to eat rice bowls every day for free at my parents' restaurant, Subway. So I get to eat my 200 grams of proteins per day. I have a roof over my head. Like Andrew Tate says, I can't say, oh fuck, I need. He says, I get to work on my home business. I get to work on the business that will give me financial freedom. If I had been stuck in a job, I would have been literally like praying to be in the situation I am now, where I'm actively pursuing success with my business, where I'm actively fucking trying and trading every day, genuinely trying to catch trades, learn from my mistakes, reflect, journal, every fucking day. Because even if I had been stuck in a job, I would have known the day I restart trading, I'm gonna be for like between 3 and 6 months just struggling. And I'm like in those months. This is like month 3 from when I restarted. I would say August, I was learning a lot. September, October, I was trading. I was really trading, practicing for real. So month after month, I'm really building on top of what I previously learned. So it's somehow progress, and there's no better teacher than experience and just time trading the markets. So let's get into today, shall we? Alrighty, so let's start on TradeZilla, which is the journaling software I use to journal my trades. As you can see, my results are very mitigated. I'm completely a break-even trader. Look, I had 92 losses, 58 winners, and 37 break-evens. So I'm not a losing trader because I can manage my losses, but I'm completely flat. Completely flat. I have small losses. And I wouldn't say my losses are stupid trades, trades where I go on tilt. They're all trades where somehow it makes sense. Like there's order flow back in it. And that's the thing I realized today. I mean, I'm trading like legit order flow. And for me to have those results really means that it doesn't matter if you trade with order flow. It's not enough. I mean, you need to be really fucking good at reading it. Because even if you're somehow a beginner intermediate with it, the results are kind of mediocre. It's really not that simple. It's really not that simple. So let's go to today's day. Man, I'm so fucking tired. All right, so as I said, we are Tuesday, November 11th, and every day, like I always say, before I start, I take 30 minutes to do something called my pre-market game plan, which is basically looking at news event we might have for the day, identifying the market conditions, identifying my directional bias, and identifying key levels to play from. From those levels, I'm going to look to short. From those levels, I'm going to look to long. So let's start from the beginning. So what would you say are the market conditions here? Pretty simple. I wouldn't say we are trending. I said we are trending in a compressed way. Okay, so this here, that kind of price action, I would say that is trending and here, but price going so slowly, it's really compressing. You see that? Would you agree? Now let's come here to the daily. I said the daily is still bearish. Okay, we are bearish as you can see here. And we can't confirm we are bullish yet because even if some people say, oh, we had a change of character here. We had a change of character or whatever. But it could only be a liquidity grab. Yes? So what I want is to see a second swing, which is a little bit hard to see here on the daily. And that's basically what I said. Maybe it was just a liquidity grab here to continue lower. Now this is the 4 hour and you can see it a lot more clearly. So there are basically two scenarios that are possible. So this is where price is. We could either continue down and fill that gap and continue lower, break that lower low here, or this higher high here could form a higher low and then a higher high and break the structure to the upside. Okay, so M15, I said this is really what I want to see. I have to be careful not to marry my bearish bias when it could very well start buying, and you're going to see what happened for the day. So price is really interesting, okay? So let me take my trading view chart. So let me tell you why market structure is quite complicated and it's somehow subjective and it's really not that simple. I will explain to you why, because here you could say it always depends how much you zoom in, how much you zoom out, and from where you start, on what time frame you're looking at. But here, clearly on the 1 minute, you would say starting from here, we are definitely bearish. We are 100% bearish. But then if you go on the 5 minute, you would say, you know what, starting from here, we are clearly bullish, okay? We are bullish. So are we bearish or we are bullish? Hard to say. But then if you zoom out a little bit more and go on the 15 minutes, you would say, hey, wait a second, we are really bearish. We are really, really bearish. And now if you even zoom out more, for example, on the 4 hours, I mean, we're clearly bullish now. This is bullish structure. So what you would do is basically say 4 hour we're bullish, and then 15 minutes, you would say 15 minutes, we are what? Hard to say, it's somehow consolidating here, okay? But you would say we are bearish, we're still bearish. And then you look here, we are bullish, and here we are bearish. So it's quite confusing. It's very, very confusing. And as a scalper, does it really, really matter? I mean, you really just focus on what you're seeing here. We're bearish. We're bearish until when? I don't know. Until at least when we reach here, you can drag a volume profile on this whole swing and have an idea where is the value area high, the POC, or the value area low of that swing. Because it cannot just start buying from here. What? Tout de suite? Big, je t'ai dit, je t'ai occupé en train de filmer de quoi, là? Je suis vraiment occupé, je suis occupé pour les prochains 30 minutes.
Non, je n'ai vraiment besoin.
C'est quoi tu veux que je fasse? À quel sel?
Avec ton sel.
Big, c'est live, là. Vas-y, fucking live, Big. Je suis tellement... Okay, so this is exactly what I'm saying here. We are bullish, then bearish, then bullish, then bearish. If you look at internal and external structure. So it's quite complicated and you need to be good at reading it. And even then, it can absolutely reverse in your fucking face. Today was the proof of that. Now here, if you look at a volume profile perspective, it's quite interesting. You would say if you look at the overnight volume profile one that I dragged from 4 p.m. to 9:30 a.m., price was really maintaining itself under the value area low here. You could see it did somehow a break and retest and sell, sell, sell. Okay? If you look at the previous day volume profile that I dragged from 9:30 to 4 p.m., it's somehow a bearish indication that price is unable to punch through the previous day value area high. So those things, looking at the volume profile, were adding up to my bearish bias for the day. Now, if you come here, I had some really, really interesting levels. At around 68.30, I had 300 buy limit orders sitting on the bid on Bookmap. And then I had a very strong 5-minute imbalance, which really acts as a magnet. And I also had the previous day point of control. So I was bearish, but I was somehow really much expecting a long from this zone here. I said first scenario, price takes out those highs or maybe reaches this level here where you have sell limits on the ask at 68.50. Price takes those highs or takes this out and then comes lower all the way to here. And then I don't really know what could happen after. I'm bearish. And I said my second scenario, which is more likely, price comes here, comes down, and then from here it gives a reaction. But remember, we're still bearish from here. And then it somehow creates a lower low, then it's going to give our lower high, taking out some structure here, and then continuing lower and lower until this huge imbalance. Alrighty, so my pre-market game plan was over. I was ready to trade, and then for cash open, just the typical ugliness, starts doing jack shit, just compressing, very ugly as always. And then price started doing a range here, creating some highs and lows. And it took those lows. I was expecting maybe price to buy a little bit. So those are screenshots I'm taking while I'm trading, basically identifying what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, what's going through my mind, what am I observing. Yeah, so you see here, I said I think it's going to go up. Look at what it did. But I don't really think there was a trade here. However, those wicks were somehow indicating that the sellers were getting absorbed, if you were to look on that on the prints. All right, I said here, I'm really looking for a sell, and that's why I didn't take the sell, and I kind of regretted it. But in hindsight, I'm not really able to tell if it was a legit opportunity missed or if it wasn't. Let's say price is, you really have no idea if it's just going to go higher, if the buyers are going to go higher to get fill at those sell limit orders, or if it's just going to sell from here. I really had no idea because we had very nice levels here. And I noticed that the levels on Bookmap, they're always at sharp levels. 68.58, 68.50, 68.60. And very precise levels, 150 orders, 150 orders. One day that's going to be me. I'm going to be trading 100 cons or 150. One day that's going to be me, guarantee. So this is what I said. We have those levels, and look at what price did right after. It sold like crazy to even lower, took this low and took it here. So maybe we could study what happened on the prints here. I would like to study what happened here and here. And let's continue. Price came to PD POC. Let's continue further. And from the previous day point of control, it gave a nice buy. Like I said, creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And I was really expecting price to come lower to where my imbalance was and some buy limit orders lower. I was like, come on, come down, I'm ready. Fingers on the trigger. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm spotting. I'm looking for aggressive sellers to get absorbed by passive buyers and then for the aggressive buyers to show up. I'm looking for an absorption setup. And then I say price has been ranging for 45 minutes. Sometimes it likes to create lows, as you can see here, and then take them out and continue higher. So something I noticed from trading, I start hating trading when it's super long and I have nothing to do and I'm bored. I'm such in a bad mood when I'm scrolling on social media. I feel miserable. So I try to do anything to stay productive. It's either doing push-ups, lifting weights, or really my goal for 2025 is to improve my eloquency, my oration, and just become a better communicator and become more fluent at my speech. So I am 100% studying from the single best communicator of the 21st century, which is Tate. I basically spend a good portion of my days while I'm doing other stuff listening to his podcasts. And then when I like the podcast, I save it in my playlist and then I go over it and I take a lot of notes. And then I have a Google document and then I print all those pages as you can see here. I highlight them, take notes, put some notes next to them. And I just study his speech, his typical sentences since the dawn of human time. I'm just noting words he likes to use, asinine. And I underline which syllable he stressed. So basically, the point is, when the market ain't doing shit, do anything. Just do something that makes you feel productive, where you don't see time flying. Because if you're there staring at charts, you hate trading, you hate your life, it sucks. You want to take trades, so get busy, do something, study, whatever. But me, this is what I like to study because I want to become not only a champion trader, but also one of the greatest communicator on the planet, because your voice is the way you interact with the world. And I believe he's the single most effective, most eloquent communicator on the planet alive. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm saying. Thank God I'm busy studying from the greatest communicator on the planet. It's really ranging. I said it's crazy for how long it can consolidate. I suppose the PM session will trend. Okay, so I just want to bring you to what happened really. I mean, guys, look at that. Look at that. I had a bearish bias from my volume profile. Just looking at this structure here, I was completely bearish. But I guess I had to look at this one. Kind of tricky. How could I have known here that our higher low was in place? It didn't take any structure. Now maybe here is a zone where you could have said, okay, maybe this is a support and resistance zone, this whole zone here. Yeah, maybe, but still. I mean, you really see auction market theory. Price is balanced, imbalance, balance, imbalance. Big area of balance here. Then I would say still balances it here, goes out of balance, and now starts to balance again. Typical auction market theory. And now here, I'm going to be really honest, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I would have liked this to come lower and take it out. Really honestly. And you can call this really a smart money concept pattern. Here you have price takes out those two lows. Here it gives a change of character, and price then comes lower here at an inducement. And here you could have taken a buy and targeting maybe this high or this high, and this thing just took off like a rocket. This is really how I was trading before, not how I trade anymore, but sometimes those trades do line up. Okay, so let's continue here. So today, very simply, I would like to study what happened on the Prince here at 950, and then here at 10. I would like also to study at what happened here at 1057. And that's pretty much it, guys. I don't think... Yeah, and I had two losses, really at bad places. Here I was just at the wrong place. I mean, if my stop loss had been a little bit higher, maybe above this high, I would have still been in the trade, but I would have targeted this low, to be honest. I would have targeted this one. Maybe it did somehow a Wyckoff distribution. I don't know. But like I said, I don't trade that. And here that trade, that loss was very simple. It took this high. I was expecting price to continue compressing again and to go to the downside. Just liquidity grab here, reversal, but didn't happen. It doesn't have to happen all the time. So yeah, basically for the next 10 minutes, I would like to study what happened here, here, and here on the Prince. And this trade here was pretty simple. Price came back at previous day value area high where it was selling from here. So I was expecting a sell. It did happen, but it went a lot further. Okay, so let's come here at 952. Let me remove my volume profile. Let's come here at 950. Okay guys, so very simply here, as you can see, here is here. I want to study what happened on the Prince to see if I potentially might have missed a trade here. Okay, so it's quite interesting. Here you have 4,000 of volume. The final delta and the minimal delta are very similar. They're almost the same number. Super strong candle. You want to see follow through of the bears to tell you, okay, I'm not taking a short from here. If the numbers start changing, you might consider a long from here. It might give you a hint that price might be ready to reverse. Now this candle here is super interesting. As you can see, you have 5,900 of volume, while the previous candle had 4,000 and it was way bigger. I mean, if you can compare it, look at the body of this candle compared to this one, yet this one had more volume. And if you compare the final delta to the minimal delta, the final delta was about half of what the min delta was. So it's telling you something, and you see a big wick to the downside indicating a lot of buy pressure. So already you're kind of telling yourself, damn, something is cooking, something is happening here. I want to pay attention. Now let's continue here. Next candle, a lot of volume like this one, even a little bit more. And now you can tell that the buyers are really starting to show because it goes from minus 252 to minus 25. So there's like 225 passive buy limit orders that are absorbing this whole move by the aggressive sellers. So now you really want to keep paying attention. Here you have a little bit less volume, and this is a common sign of potential reversals. Basically, when the volume is diminishing, it tells you that the orders are ready to be transferred somehow. So you look at here, the numbers are clearly diminishing. It's in the 500s, 600s, and now minus 250, minus 200, minus 200. So here you're really looking for your first sign to buy. Boom, you get this candle with a nice imbalance. Would have been a great entry here at 68.41. So let's put it here. So I believe this was really a missed buy. Stop loss under. And what do you target? You could have targeted this level here where you had the sell limit orders. Okay, so this was less than 3R. It's an okay trade. Not the end of the world, but it was kind of clear. It was pretty clear. Also lining up with VWAP. It took out those lows here. So, okay. This, I would say, was a missed trade. But remember, my goddamn bias was bearish. So, but of course, I was expecting price to start selling from here. Now, let's come here at 10 and see what happened. Okay, super positive numbers, but you see big wick here to the upside indicating sell pressure. And if you compare the size of the two candles, this one has more volume, but it's much smaller. The body is much smaller. Now you look at this one, it's really diminishing, It's because it's getting all their orders filled here by this bookmap level. And now you look here, super interesting candle. You have trapped buyers here, but also trapped sellers, which is a little bit odd. But it goes from max delta 220 to minus 16. So here you're like, man, I'm really looking for a sell now. I'm really actively looking for a sell. You see this candle here, boom, starts selling. But it goes from minus 302 to minus 156, which is half of it. So you can kind of tell the sellers are not super strong yet. So this is why you really had this candle here. And now those numbers are a little bit scary if you want to sell. 231 to 222, very similar numbers. Now you want to see follow through. Who's going to have follow through here? It might consolidate for a while. It really could consolidate for a while. Now you see this candle here, minus 223 to minus 10. Not looking super good. That explained this big wick here to the downside. There's still some buying pressure. And then boom, it really started selling with those imbalances here. You could have entered here at about 47.75. So let's put it 47.75. Stop loss here. What do you target? You could have targeted the previous day point of control. So this would have been 4 Rs. Okay, not the craziest RR trade, but still okay. And after is really when it started consolidating from literally 10.20 to 11. So for about 40 minutes, price didn't do anything. Now here you pay attention. I just want to break down that one at around 10.57. Price took out this low again, but I would have liked like a bigger liquidity grab, and I would have liked price to come way lower. So that's why I didn't like what price was doing. So let's come here and just see what happened at 10.57. Alrighty, so here. Let's see. So areas of consolidation are always somehow very tricky if you look at the footprints and at the time statistics. I like to look at volume delta, max delta, and minimum delta. So this one, kind of weird. This one is weird. Minus 236 goes all the way to 89. But it goes down. So it's telling you that all the aggressive buyers are somehow getting absorbed by the passive sellers. Now you look at this one, now the aggressive sellers are really showing up. And it leaves this big wick to the downside, but still it's a green candle, so there's still some buying pressure here. Now this one is weird. This one. So here from minus 79 to minus 20. Okay, let's see what happens after. Boom, it comes down by a lot, but still, if you look at the minus 74, it's a little bit less than half of the minus 198. So you really want to start paying attention to what happens after. Remember, you're really wanting to see the aggressive sellers getting absorbed by the passive buyers, and then for the aggressive buyers to show up here. Now, if you look at this one, very interesting. The sellers are barely getting follow through. If you look here, minus 160 to minus 8, it barely goes down. And it starts being green. You know, this candle is green. Okay, very interesting. Now, this one also is super interesting. It goes from minus 232 to 36, and the 64 is a lot closer to the 36. Okay, so very interesting. It left trap buyers, but I like to see trap sellers. And maybe you could have entered here, but again, following this logic, I could have gotten stuck here. I could have had a loss here, not to lie, to be really honest with you. So really, at this candle here, you could have entered somehow. I like those numbers, but I don't like the volume diminishing, minus 86 to 79. Okay, but I don't like the volume very much. And this is what I'm noticing about reversals, to be honest. When you're looking at the area, you can't really tell how far it's going to go. And it's as if somehow the aggressive buyers start showing up later during the rally. You can't tell they're already all here. They're showing up during the rally. Okay, you see here, I think a big buyer showed up. Big buyer showed up. Like they show up later. But not necessarily, you know. Look at here. Not necessarily. The volume didn't go up by that much. This one. The volume is higher, but yeah, hard to tell. Yeah, it's really later that it started pumping. So imagine you're in this trade. You're super well in profit. I would have gone break even from here. Definitely. And price would have probably taken me out. This would have been so annoying. Today was a shitty day, to be honest. Today was definitely a shitty day. Look, I would have maybe even if I would have gotten here, I would have targeted this high. I would have maybe dragged my stop loss in profit. Would have gotten out somewhere here perhaps. Then came all the way down. Did not even do a liquidity grab. Right, so here, let's put it at where would my entry have been. Let's put it here somehow. Let's put it at 33.50. And here, guys, I don't think I would have entered. I don't think I would have entered here. And price eventually went up by a lot. And here I would have gotten taken out at break even, to be honest. I just want to look at what happened here. But like I say, it could have given a big wick and then another red candle comes lower and lower. Could have happened. Remember, I really wanted price to come lower to my big imbalance. So let's go at 11:30. I'm just curious on what the prints were saying. It's right here. 11:30. Interesting, big wick to the downside, obviously. Trapped buyers, but I like to see trapped sellers. It goes from minus 701 to minus 206. Okay, so there's a difference here of 500. Now this one, so it's getting zero follow through. This one buys 626 to 381. So you're saying, so you're kind of seeing it's not super strong. It might get a little bit of a retrace. It gets it here. And now this candle here is super powerful. Look, you could have entered off the imbalance here. Could have. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. So let's say you entered here at around 4 zones. Okay, it's kind of nice. At 68.38. 68.38. Now the question is, where do you put your goddamn stop loss, you know? Do you put it right under? So my mentor, he takes those kind of trades, but he just enters with a 1030 on NQ. Let's say we just put our low here. getting protected by those strong buyers. So let's put our low here. So let's put our stop loss here at 33. Getting protected by those strong levels here where you see the sellers could not defend it. So you put it here, around here. $33.50, okay. And where do you target? I don't know, man. It went up by so much. I don't know why it went that high. I don't even know to what it reacted. The previous daily high has not even gotten taken out. Price is so close to it. Crazy. Yeah, so in hindsight, how many trades did I miss? This one for sure. This one more or less. This one not super clear. This one there was an imbalance. So I don't really know what to make out of it. It's interesting to study, but yeah, I'm gaining experience every day. Am I there yet? No. But give me a couple of weeks of doing that every day and coming up with new lessons and new things I learned every day. I'm progressing fast. So here I just want to finish my TradeZilla and do my end of day recap, my post-market analysis. How did it go? 2 stop loss. It went pretty bad. Price consolidated a lot. I would give it a 3 out of 10. Was I right about my pre-market directional bias? Kinda. The answer is kinda. So if you look, this was what I wanted, what I expected price to do. Come here and then come here and start buying from here, but to continue lower. Now, what really happened, price did come here, but it only came at the previous day point of control, and it got filled a little bit by those levels, but never touched my imbalance. There were 300 buy limit orders though. That was a lot. And price, and I was completely bearish, but price started buying. So I was half right, half wrong. What lesson can I take out of this session? Whoa. Price doesn't have to fill my imbalances. Be careful not to marry your bias. What else did I learn? This is not super related to trading, but I would say get busy, get productive while price is consolidating. If not, you will hate trading and feel miserable. So overall, it helps your trading. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I took out of it. What else? That's pretty much it, guys. So I'm exhausted here. I'm just going to take a quick nap. I can't take it anymore. So yeah, guys, this was ES. This was ES, the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and we were Tuesday, November 11th. And let's just count how many R's I missed. Here about 3, 4, so we're at 7, 10, and 8. So 18 R's. So this is what I could have caught, and instead of that, I had 2 very shitty losses. So yeah, kind of sucks. It's part of trading. It's part of the game. It is what it is. Yeah. All right, cheers, guys. I hope you got some value from this. See ya.